Yes, good evening, everyone. Igor, hello.
Hello, Dimitri.
Our meeting today is called Capital Formula, which means we're going to build capital. And while you're writing which country and city you're from, which is very important, to be involved in today's session, we understand what you need. I mean, we want to give you as much as possible. So I congratulate us all on the fact that we've started. Gradually, you'll get involved. We'll have some surprises for you today that weren't in the last presentation. We are, as they say, slowly picking up speed. Our tasks are moving along bit by bit. So, first it was to register, then the task was to launch the site, launch payment processing, and get set up. Today, I'm already prepared to congratulate our clients. We have over 330 registrations on the platform as of today, and that's just, well, we've only just begun. There hasn't been any advertising campaign yet, nothing. So our money is already working specifically in mining the Gonka token. So this is the very beginning where we're starting from. We already have clients, our users, who watched our previous broadcasts and bought licenses for themselves, meaning they understand what it is and what the advantage is. We have absolutely everything to become the number one pool, and we are moving forward rapidly. Today at the meeting, you'll learn about earning opportunities through and with the help of artificial intelligence. You'll learn about new monetization models and how to build capital. So far, artificial intelligence is just helping us, but how do you build actual capital on it? On this very trend, how to reach an income of over $1 million. Well, I've already reached such incomes 3 times in my life, so a million doesn't surprise me now. I mean, I need 10, 20, 100. By the way, whatever your income goals are, post them here. You'll be able to use our platform, our business, and our opportunities as a lever. So if your goal is to build capital, today you'll understand how to use us as a lever. And with our help, speed up to the max. Just put a number for now, how much money you need. You know that everything that is planned can be achieved. You'll learn about the prospects and what choice professionals make. The speakers with you will be Dmitry Razumovsky, Sergey Drozdovsky, Igor Bondarenko, and one more speaker. I'll introduce you to him a bit later. A little insight into which trends you could have made a fortune on before. What we've observed together, we've seen the emergence of the mobile network, the emergence of the internet, and the emergence of video calling. And when they told us that people would soon be communicating via smartphones like on TV, many didn't believe it, but it has become part of our lives. Nowadays, smartphones are often more powerful than desktop computers. I mean, now we're hearing new information that soon there will be more robots than people. So we can either ignore it all, let it pass us by, but it's happening in our lives. And it actually seems like cryptocurrencies entered our lives only recently, but in fact, it turns out it was already 10 or even 15 years ago. Some people were even born during the crypto era, and they don't understand how it could be any other way. But I missed Bitcoin, that trend. Unfortunately, I wasn't an early investor, missed the gains on Ethereum and Solana, missed all the potential gains on mining and ICOs. I mean, I saw it happening in my life. I saw others making thousandfold gains, building fortunes, but I wasn't fast enough. I mean, I thought about it, but I just didn't react to the opportunity. And that's exactly why, because I saw how fortunes are made. That's why I'm going to tell you about the business that's happening today. Now, these opportunities, the ones we saw, won't give 10 or 100 times returns quickly anymore, or even 1,000, but there are new, even bigger opportunities. So that's exactly what our meeting today is about. Artificial intelligence is an integral part of our future that has already changed the world and is still changing it. And while changes used to take 10 or 20 years to happen, these new changes take much less time, 1 or 2 years, and we won't even recognize what's coming in 5 years. We can't even imagine it right now. But the good news here is that we are, you could say, the true innovators who have been among the first to hear and learn about this new information. We can really thank ourselves as well as the people who invited us to this important meeting for giving us the opportunity to be here and to receive this valuable knowledge. We realize something others don't, and that's why we have the chance to make thousandfold gains. I've put together some analytics for you on what the system we live in has prepared for us. It doesn't matter which country or continent, but the state system has prepared this model for our lives. Look, this is our life, roughly 90 years, give or take. Please don't be too critical of these numbers. This is just a very general overview. just so you can logically understand the life model of an average person. From 0 to 18, usually for 99% of people, there is no income. They're studying and developing. Then from 18 to 28, a young specialist builds their career. This is a very average figure. $1,000 is their monthly income. Accordingly, he earns $12,000 a year, and in 10 years, he earns $120,000. The math is very simple. And he can easily set aside 10%, 12,000 into some nest egg, into savings, well, to create some kind of reserve. The next period is 28 to 38 years old. The person has reached a new career level. Their opportunities have expanded. Their expertise has grown. So he can earn about a couple of $1,000s a month. Well, in some country there, plus or minus, yeah? 10 years, 240,000, and accordingly, 10%. He saved 24,000 over 10 years. So, well, not bad. Okay, average statistics. And he has left to work from 38 to 65 on average. Then he retires. So, accordingly, also 24,000 a year over 27 years, 648,000, and he saved 64,000. And in total over his life, he saved about $100,000. This is for an average person in an average country. That is the one the state has prepared for us, so that we could travel along these tracks, and we're quite happy. Well, like earned a little bit for ourselves. Now, a question. Which of you doesn't save 10%? Put a minus. And which of you saves 10%? Put a plus. So let's see how well these statistics actually work. Whether if any of you are saving money at all or not. It's also very interesting to get an understanding. So on average, we've understood which tracks we're on. Now the reality, you're there, 60, 50, or 60 years old. Yes, you've saved 100,000. There, inflation ate a part of it. You lost a part. A part, some banks went bust. A part, somewhere there, you misinvested, something went wrong, happened with your money. Well, here's the reality. In retirement, you can buy yourself some house, some apartment, some cottage, yeah. And now the question, but where in this life, where in this reality, are all the true delights and pleasures of this world really to be found? I mean, where's the private island here? Where's the yacht here? Where's the private jet here? Where's the Rolls Royce? Where's the apartment in New York, in Dubai, there in Paris? I don't know where you want, in Moscow. So, where is all that if for the average person it's really not prepared at all, not programmed, and there are simply no conditions for him to achieve all of his dreams? So, accordingly, here is the question. What if you do not want to be just an average person? Then you do not need to take average actions. It means you need to build your capital in a different, more unique way. So, not by saving up diligently for 40 long years just to eventually buy yourself a summer house, right? But instead by finding some other alternative way to achieve that goal. And today's meeting is for those who would like to build capital, not just 100,000, but I mean a million plus, and not in 40 years, but in 3, 5, or 7 years. And this is possible with the trend we're going to talk about today. And today you'll find out how. There's an understanding that people made multiples on Solana. Yes, and it peaked at around $650, if I remember correctly. BNB was once a free token. They were giving it away at $0.5. It even reached a peak of 1,250. So 0 to 1,250, 0 to 650. XRP was also at 0, and then it grew to a certain market cap of 130 billion. Ether, accordingly, it was at 0 and grew to 4,500, right? We see that these tokens captured market share because they opened up a new market. We're not talking about Bitcoin here. It basically opened up the blockchain and holds 50% of the market cap. Solana created a high-speed, super scalable, fast blockchain with low transaction costs. Ether opened the world of smart contracts. XRP is used in the banking system. BNB then showed a successful model of how to provide maximum discounts on the largest exchange. So these tokens opened up new markets. And specifically today, we're going to talk about a token that also opens up new markets. About the GNK token, that is about the Gonka platform, the Gonka protocol, whose potential is to surpass all existing successful models combined. Because each of these models has its own market volume. So Solana has a market volume of 78 billion, BNB has 100, XRP has 100, and Ether has 350. Here we're talking about AI infrastructure, a $1 trillion market. The size of this market, according to various experts, is estimated at $15 to $40 trillion. And this market is just emerging now and will scale exponentially over the next 5 to 7 years. That's why in the next 5 to 7 years, we can make a fortune in this market. And the Gonka protocol, the GNK protocol, the GNK token, can capture, by the most conservative estimates, from 0.5% of this market to 10% of the market as a whole. Now we're going to look at how this happens, and I have some major calculations I've made showing that with 0.3% of this market, accordingly, the token price could reach $150, which is already a 150 to 200 times gain from today's point. With 2% of the market, it could reach $600, and with 10% of the market, which is actually a possibility that exists, it could go up to $3,000. So the growth potential of the token, if it hits $3,000 from its current price of 0.7 or 0.8, that's a potential 5,000 times return. So who would like to make 5,000 times their money in the next 3, 5, or 7 years? Our meeting today is for those people. So based on that, the pool, our platform, Formula X, and our team will serve as leverage for you. I mean, together we can do this, and we have very serious resources behind us. That's what today's meeting is about, these opportunities for you. And now, Igor, I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Dimitri. And we all know that AI is a rapidly growing technology sector. Estimates show the AI market in 2025 and 2026 will have a capitalization of 244 to 376 billion a year. Forecasts suggest it will reach $2.5 trillion by 2034. And the biggest players dominating the AI company market cap are Nvidia with over 5 trillion and Alphabet at around 4 trillion. We can clearly see that AI isn't just a financial asset, but a technology being integrated into all industries. Unlike crypto, AI is entering the economy very fast. And we can already see from the analytics and probably even from our friends and acquaintances how AI is changing the market. The scale of layoffs in 2024 to 2026. In the US tech sector, 94,000 people. Amazon cut 14,000 employees due to process optimization using AI. Microsoft, 9,000 people. Intel, 21,000 people. IBM, 8,000. And I'll give a practical example from recently. In December 2025, the creator of Twitter cut 50% of his staff because they were replaced by artificial intelligence, and at the same time, revenue grew to $6 billion per quarter. So what are the forecasts? Over 90% of jobs could be affected by automation in the coming years. Millions of positions in office and administrative fields are at risk of transformation. Companies are accelerating the transition to AI to cut costs and increase margins. Write in the chat if you're worried about your profession, put a plus sign, and if you agree with this, put 2 plus signs. And right here on the slide, there are quotes from Silicon Valley experts from an article that caused a stir and garnered over 70 million views. You can find this article, study it, which says that artificial intelligence is quickly taking over all industries, and soon every person will have their own AI agent. Yes, I see your plus signs. So I guess someone is already worried. Here is an example. Bitcoin came out 17 years ago, but even now, far from everyone owns Bitcoin or uses it. In 2040, as Elon Musk said, there will be more humanoid robots than people, according to his assumption. But let's look at what's next. Is 2007 further from us, or is 2040 further from us? Probably 2040 is much closer. And as Elon Musk says, every year, 5% of professions in the world will already be replaced by robots. Here on the slide, we've tried to show how artificial intelligence is conquering the market today. You see the dotted line is the growth of cryptocurrency, the crypto industry, and the blue line is the artificial intelligence market. It's clearly visible to the naked eye that artificial intelligence is outpacing the growth of not just crypto, but is also taking over more and more sectors of the economy. The main problem with the AI market today is that it's in the hands of 5 large corporations located in a single country, the USA. These are corporations like Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta. And this is a very serious problem because it means total control over the entire artificial intelligence system. Here are some quotes. Elon Musk said it will become increasingly likely that AI will surpass the intelligence of any human by the end of 2025. And Bill Gates stated that soon every person will have their own AI assistant, and most professions will be replaced by artificial intelligence. Unfortunately, that's where we're headed. Whoever owns artificial intelligence owns the consciousness of people. But is that really so? If you disagree, put a minus in the chat. I'm interested in your opinion. And what are the risks of 5 corporations having capitalized on artificial intelligence today? 5 companies control the world's jobs. Access to AI will be controlled by the US State Department. Countries and businesses will depend on someone else's data center. AI is being implemented to control and influence people. And the global market problem is that 90% of computing power is specifically under the control of one state and 5 companies. But we'll show you now that there's also good news. The first piece of good news is that artificial intelligence automates a ton of processes in people's lives. And the second piece of good news will show how you can build a decent capital on this in the coming years.
Yes, hello everyone. So, friends, what are we talking about? First, we've built up a bit of fear, then we said there's good news, as Igor mentioned. And there really is good news, which is that a project called Gonka has emerged. So, what exactly is Gonka? Gonka is a platform that combines, well, not even a platform, it's a blockchain-based technology that unites computing power, powerful GPU servers located all over the world into a single processing computing center that helps AI undergo training and various computations to solve different tasks. And since this is very relevant right now, there's a shortage of power in the world, first of all. Secondly, corporations are grabbing it all for themselves and could essentially leave people behind, especially those who don't live in countries like the US or those that control AI, right? And why is AI profitable right now? That's why we can make money on this. We're all talking about it now, right? Because it will be more profitable than with corporations, right? Corporations usually tighten the screws and hike up the prices. So it will be more accessible for people, cheaper, and more profitable. Almost 100% of the power goes toward computations. So if in Bitcoin, right, in Bitcoin mining or mining other cryptocurrencies, it's computation for the sake of computation, just calculating blocks. Here, 99% efficiency or even 100% goes specifically toward AI data processing. That is computations, training, AI agents, and so on. And only a small percentage goes toward data exchange between nodes to distribute these coins to the node holders. And scalability too, the fact that the market is growing very fast. We'll talk about that a bit later, faster than the crypto industry, many times faster. Gonka turns computing power into the new Bitcoin. And what is Gonka? It's a new cryptocurrency, a new token, a new coin used as a utility token to purchase these computing powers. So it's an opportunity for some to earn, those who connect nodes, who mine, who invest in these servers, which are very expensive, by the way, while other people want to develop AIs, perform some computations, create AI agents, agents of new agents, and so forth. And all of this with minimal costs. So there are two sides. Those who want to use AI Pay, and Gonka provides the computing capabilities. And who's already talking about Gonka? So I'll tell you now how I found out about this and how I just got fired up for some reason. You see, I have Gonka written here on my shirt. I got fired up because I saw a podcast with Margolan Seizenbaev. Then I watched Oscar Hartman's podcast, and it reinforced it even more. Then I watched a podcast by Alexander Sokolovsky. For those who don't know, he's a major crypto blogger. And I also watched Gleb Solomin's blog. He's a blogger with millions of followers from a scientific perspective. I started studying materials in chats everywhere. I saw that Forbes already wrote an article and Bitfury has already invested 50 million here and Binance is writing about it. In short, it's really cool. I got fired up inside. I'm saying that this is the project that will be taking over the world in the next few years. Well, you probably know these people, Oscar Hartman and Margolan, they've already said, yeah. Oscar says it's $1 trillion market. Margolan right there on the podcast was ready to invest $1 million saying, Where do I take the money? Show me where all this needs to be placed and set up. So who is behind the project? Well, it's the Lieberman brothers, David and Daniel. I won't talk about it for long because you can just search Wikipedia, and right there on Wikipedia, type Lieberman brothers. Everything is written about them there in both English and Russian. Well, I can only say that their experience is valued at $400 million. See, they created large corporations that invested in various projects. Also, they were product directors at Snapchat. Snapchat is a major company, and they even sold some of their ideas there. They live in America, work in Silicon Valley. Anyway, now they're promoting the Gonka project because AI is exactly the trend for the next few years. So what is the Gonka token? GNK is the ticker, the usual exchange one. Yeah, it's more than a cryptocurrency. I've already said it's fuel for artificial intelligence, and here's why. So Gonka itself is building infrastructure on very powerful graphics cards, models like NVIDIA H100, H200. They're very expensive, and one server there costs around $200,000 to $300,000. And then artificial intelligence turns to these capacities in order to perform calculations. And AI agents also turn to them to perform calculations. That is a person who writes a request in ChatGPT there. Well, create a picture there, or create a prompt for me. Oh, create some text for me there, or something else, and sends the request. Naturally, these requests go and are processed on the servers. Moreover, I'll say that AI agents have already appeared now. It's artificial intelligence that teaches AI agents to teach other AI agents. So here, humans are basically excluded from this chain. You see? And so where will an AI agent get its power? It needs it for computing. It can go to Gonka, buy tokens, pay for certain computing power there, and perform its calculations. So it's a high-demand infrastructure, yeah. And GNK is a universal unit of account within the Gonka network. If Bitcoin is digital gold that you can just accumulate and store, right? Well, it's not very convenient for payments, high fees, and so on. Then GNK is digital electricity that powers AI, artificial intelligence, and neural networks. But unlike thousands of empty coins, the value of GNK is actually backed by real-world usage. This is very important that the token is actually used. And it's an asset that doesn't just sit in your wallet, but puts your capital to work in a fast-growing market. So if you accumulate it now, and it's the earliest stage right now, it could grow into a very large capital. And why did I say it'll grow into a large capital? Why will Gonka grow? There's already a chart showing how many AI users there are in the world. The number of people is the blue line, and the number of requests is the red line. If we look at the chart, right, it all started in 2022, not so long ago, just about 4 years ago. There were about 150 million users. Now there are about 2 billion AI users already, one way or another, and by 2030, it's projected to be half the planet's population, at least those with internet access, yeah. Accordingly, there's this steady growth, right? But the number of requests will grow exponentially. A completely different chart. I like this chart. It looks like a smiling emoji. It means we're moving in the right direction. And what conclusion can we draw from this? That there are many more users and even more requests because almost everyone turns to AI for help nearly every day now. People have even replaced search engines with artificial intelligence and ask it questions. It finds information quickly, very accurate information, by the way. So centralized AIs like OpenAI, Gemini, Anthropic, and others might not handle the load, and accordingly, alternatives are needed. Gonka could become an alternative in this regard as well. And of course, we've discussed, right, that users will grow progressively. Gonka will be in demand since it's used for computing, right, and is accessible to everyone. And the GNK token will be used as fuel for computing. And that will drive its growth. Now, what's needed to start mining GNK on your own? Let's take a look. I mean, it's not just about going to some platform and putting in money. To mine on your own, you need to understand IT, that's one. You need to know programming, server setup, server administration, and constant monitoring. Pay IT specialists to monitor everything and reconfigure things if there's a failure. Connect equipment that costs around $25,000 to $35,000. Have a spot in an industrial data center with a high-capacity power connection, yeah, and 24/7 server monitoring and control. So it's all very expensive. You need both skills and money for this. And how can Formula X help you participate in Gonka Jinke mining with minimal investment of time and resources? Well, first of all, you can start mining with just $25. One. Second, easy entry through a user-friendly platform. Two, professional 24/7 maintenance, meaning you don't have to worry about it at all. Maximum number of coins thanks to optimization and equipment settings. Because yes, there's a lot of mining equipment and many different pools, but those who know how to set it up correctly always get more. And constant customer support means you can reach out with any request and always get an answer. And on that note, I'd like to hand it over to Dimitri. He'll explain exactly what Formula X AI is and how it works.
Formula XAI is a user-friendly platform we've built, packaged into a simple, clear interface for the average person. The company is open, Formula has a proper legal structure. Accordingly, you can review all documents on the website. The operating procedures are as simple as possible. So, we are an operator of high-performance GPU infrastructure, specializing specifically in the development and management of nodes in the Gonka network. We're creating a stable computing environment. We've already built it and are now scaling it with our immediate community. Accordingly, this is a promising but complex field. The product is technically complex if you handle it on your own. I mean, it took us 2 weeks just to set up our nodes to get started ourselves. And the entry barrier here is also quite difficult. That is, buying the equipment yourself costs about $40,000 to $50,000. It needs to be installed in an industrial data center. Therefore, it's better to do this on a large scale right away. So it's a difficult entry point, a high entry point. Plus, you need to have professional IT specialists and professional 24/7 monitoring. Doing this is a bit difficult, but it is possible. Since we've been in the market as a fintech platform for a long time, we have our own IT team and our own programmers, so it turned out to be much easier for us than for others. What do we do? A full cycle of GPU infrastructure and professional capacity management. Uninterrupted, continuous, stable 24/7 operation and transparent economics. That is, how many tokens we mine can be clearly tracked by our pool's hash rate. Today, at the end of the meeting, I'll show you some information that you didn't have before. And accessible entry for everyone. Together, we join a large pool, so the power of this pool grows, we rise in the rankings and can vote on the Gonka platform as major participants, and we can get the maximum benefits from this. The larger we are together, the more advantages we have and the more rewards we receive. How to get started? First, register on the Formula X AI platform. Get the registration link from the person who invited you to watch this video. Choose the participation period and select the appropriate license. For small amounts, a license isn't needed. For larger amounts, a license is required. A license is like a fee, that is a management fee, a setup fee, and receive your reward. That is, all collective participants in mining, the collective miners, all their funds are combined into a large pool, and this entire pool operates with transparent tokenomics. So you can transparently see who is participating in mining, how much, and in what way. That is, licenses are valid for 1 year, so the license, which is the participation fee, lasts for 1 year. There is free participation, meaning free, with a maximum investment in equipment. You can put up to $500 into Gonka mining, from 25 to 500, and receive GNK tokens for that amount. As of today, the GNK token, its market value is around 80 to 85 cents, 0.80 to 0.85, and the mining cost for the pool is 0.6 to 0.7. It fluctuates. Accordingly, we mine the token together with you a bit cheaper than it trades on the market. And consequently, we already have an advantage. Accordingly, on the market, buying a token is fraught with many fakes, unclear purchasing complexity, and wallet difficulties. Yes, and so through the pool, you're definitely guaranteed for sure getting tokens with all instructions and support for your pool. If you want to use more in mining the token, Gonka, for example, 1000, 2000, 3.5, 8, 15, 100, and so on, then you need the next license. So you look at how much capital you'd like to put into Gonka mining and realize that you need such a license for that. That is, the license works with mining and without mining. So if you have a mining license, you can accordingly send funds into mining based on your financial plan. For instance, if you have a 1 year financial plan, every month you put in $1,000 as part of your plan, to enter Gonka mining. So if you can enter with more now, say 2 or 3 and then 1,000, you choose a license, plan it for a year, enter Gonka token mining every month, and thus accumulate the maximum capital for yourself specifically in GNK tokens. Later, the rate might be volatile for a while, but you have strategic goals, goals for 1, 3, 5 years ahead when the active phase of scaling and growth begins, and growth is already very serious. That is, at an early stage, the token cost 2 cents, then 20 cents, and now it's 80 cents. So we see over a long distance of 3 to 4 months how growth is already happening. Accordingly, if you're a larger client, if your capital for Gonka token mining is over 100,000 USDT, then our pool has a service, an option for VIP clients where you can sign a personal contract with the company and get even more Gonka tokens. To sign a personal contract, you first need to open mining for $10,000. After that, well, contact support, your inviter, yes, whoever recommended it to you, the referrer, contact management, and a personal contract will be signed for you. Then, under this personal contract from 100,000 and up, you can transparently to your wallet, personalized with service, sign a contract. That is, this approach doesn't exist in other pools. Accordingly, we are ready to implement this approach. We are ready to show full transparency and openness. And for us, this is an advantage. Plus, we participate in power leasing as a legal entity, while other pools participate through someone else's legal entities, through intermediaries who charge them a commission, whereas we are wholesale power buyers ourselves. So through us, the cost price is much more attractive. It works out. So we've decided on the license choice, decided on the amount you want to send to mining. The license works for you every month. 1% of all tokens mined by our pool is credited to your license and distributed among the licenses. That is, let's say $1 million is working in the pool. How do you calculate that? $1 million brings in 1.5 million roughly tokens. So 1% is 15,000 tokens. So 15,000 tokens are distributed proportionally to all licenses every month. For small licenses like the $25 ones, a certain amount. For basic, it's twice as much, 3 times as much, 5 times as much, 8 times as much. That is a scaling factor. The higher the license, the higher the drop credited to it. So it's specifically from the tokens mined by our entire pool. So over the long term, throughout the year, the license will constantly bring you tokens. The exact amount can be determined experimentally every month. I've basically explained how the licenses work. The mining data centers look just like this. So these are large units. They look like cabinets or refrigerators, yeah? And inside, NVIDIA H100 and H200 boards are located, which we rent. And all of this requires industrial cooling, industrial oversight, and industrial control. And we connect immediately through a specialized company that has access to a large number of data centers, selects the optimal lease for us, and accordingly, the conditions for us turn out to be optimal. And at this stage, as to why the GNK token Gonka has such profit potential, I'm ready to bring in and invite our guest, a new speaker, Anton Vlasov. Anton, if you're here on the line, please join in. I'm handing the floor over to you. First of all, I want to understand, to get an answer, why you decided to take the Gonka token into your active participation, into your active focus. Why did you decide to join our team? Formula X, what special things did you see in us? Yeah, and why are you here? And so on.
I couldn't set up the background because it started glitching, so just enjoy my face. I'm happy to welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm Anton Vlasov, I'm 36 years old. I can boldly call myself a professional in the field of cryptocurrency because I've been in this market every single day since 2016. And I've gone through all the stages from $600 per Bitcoin to 20,000, then to 3.5, then to 60, then back to, I think, 30, then to 125, and now 70. I understand what a trend is and how to make money on these trends. And most importantly, I see these trends, I always try to use them and not miss out. And frankly, that's the main reason why I'm here. Let's just compare it using Bitcoin as an example. Yeah, when we got him back in 2016, even then it was late. Well, $600 is already quite a high price. It's not $1 or 20 cents, right? Then GNK, which we have now. Right now with GNK, if you look at the charts, this is the very, very, very early stage. But the main advantage, what is it exactly? It's that unlike Bitcoin, which essentially just generates or rather consumes electricity, and brings no benefit. Well, yes, you can pay with it. It's speculated on exchanges, but in fact, Bitcoin itself as a unit is just a piece of information that isn't needed. So we're wasting electricity and essentially the planet's resources just to throw them into thin air, to dissolve them. Now let's look at GNK. GNK has a specific application. That is, the specific application is that this token is used as a means of payment for servicing AI agents and deploying artificial intelligence systems. So it's clear where the demand comes from. And there's a second factor. We want to understand now why this will be profitable and why it will grow. We have a limited supply. Well, I'm going to compare Bitcoin and GNK again as an example. Both of them have an emission. Emission is how much has been printed in total. That is 1 billion GNK tokens, just like with Bitcoin. Accordingly, this means there won't be a situation where they start printing more from somewhere else and the rate starts to drop because of it. Consequently, this is called a deficit. So with the mining difficulty, it will become harder and harder to get tokens. So I've explained the utility and why it's limited, like gold, but digital gold, or rather Bitcoin, has a limited emission. So what else? As I said before, it's actually the very earliest stage right now. If you look at the chart, right, the ratio of time to mining, well, the chart itself really makes this clear. Looks like this. So right now, at the very beginning, we get the biggest rewards for what we mine. So by using the same video cards, we'll just get more tokens now. And since it's cheaper now, it becomes doubly profitable. In the future, the reward will decrease. Why does it drop later? There's this concept called halving. This algorithm is built into both Bitcoin and GNK. So when the blockchain itself was written, it included this feature where the further it goes, it's divided by 2. So miners get fewer rewards. And as early miners, like we're sitting here now, if we participate in mining, we're getting in at a high price again. Later, when the halving happens, there will be a division. And every time it's divided, the emission decreases, the reward drops, and mining becomes harder. And so the players who entered earlier, if they don't keep up technologically, they'll simply be forced out of the market and earn less. But since we're getting in early, we can already accumulate some volume and capitalize on that. When the token goes up, we'll be, as they say, in a pretty good position. And regarding the pace of development, again, to reiterate, Bitcoin was launched in 2009. At this point, it's now 2026. How long has it been? 17 years, right? Almost 17 years. Yeah, almost 17 years. And in 17 years, it has reached a certain volume. Well, the whole infrastructure, exchanges, swap services, projects, smart contracts, everything related to crypto. So if you compare the development dynamics of the industry as a whole, the Bitcoin niche and the Gonka niche, it's ahead by I don't know how many times, but dozens of times. And accordingly, the path that took Bitcoin 10 years to travel, Gonka literally did it in a few months, in a single quarter. So right now, since the blockchain launch, it's been a bit less than, I think, 6 months. In 6 months, an infrastructure has been built and money invested that Bitcoin, in terms of adoption as a trend and understanding as a cryptocurrency, only achieved after several years. And even then, it still had this concept. Well, those of you who've been in the market for a while understand there's the concept of mortality, right? Several times people predicted Bitcoin would die, exchanges collapsed, all sorts of legal cases were closed, you name it. Anyway, the point is that Gonka has already quickly overcome all these growing pains. Yes, it's clear the rate goes up and down. That's normal. It's fine. But overall, I think the level, speed, and quality of development of the Gonka blockchain and the ideas behind it are simply phenomenal. So naturally, I'm all for this trend. Economics. The initial cost price of one token was 20 cents. That is, at the peak, I think the cost price reached about $1, but right now it's definitely less than $1. It varies in different pools depending on the specific terms. But on average, we expect around 0.7 or 0.8. I've even heard 0.5 supposedly being mined by some, but that's not the point. The point is you need to understand one simple thing. At the moment, the market supply is very limited. So if you want to now, you might say, why should I mine? I'll just go and buy it. Well, you won't be able to buy it at the price you're mining it at, simply because no one will want to sell you this token cheaply. And right now, supply is much lower than demand. And on average, well, these are the market indicators, about 20 to 30% is added on top of the mining cost. This is called OTC, meaning it's a market that hasn't gone official yet, well, because there hasn't been a listing. So right now, it's basically just people trading like P2P or the OTC market as it's otherwise known. Let's look at an example of what would have happened if you, say in 2011, when mining was just starting out, had started mining Bitcoin. Back in 2011, you would have been able to mine in a single year with a $10,000 investment in equipment between 2,500 and 4,000 Bitcoins per year. I mean, at today's exchange rate, even considering that it's dropped by half, and is worth somewhere around 60 or 70,000 right now, well, you would be a billionaire, right? Do the math. I don't know. You can calculate it and post the number, by the way, of how much it would be. Now, the mining difficulty due to halving the growth of the industry and increased complexity has risen so much that in a year, with that same $10,000 investment, you'd earn 0.05 to 0.08 Bitcoin per year. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you start doing this now, there's a very high probability of becoming a whale, a major holder, who basically stocked up at a very low price by mining this token. Yes, someone's writing here almost $300 million. Yes, thank you, Sergey, for doing the math. So, my goal right now isn't just for you to hear the numbers and think, oh, cool, but for you to really feel this trend. I'm very grateful to myself that back in 16, I wasn't afraid and I invested everything I had. Well, I didn't really have much and I certainly didn't have any capital. I had no experience, no capital, no connections, no money. I had absolutely nothing at all. I mean, I just believed in it and went for it. And now I'm practically shouting at you that you need to make a decision somehow, I don't know, through our pool or on your own if you have the money to set up these GPUs. But you just have to catch this trend if you want the life change. The life change isn't just about earning 1, 2, or 3 million rubles. It's about reaching a level of capital in a year or two that lets you diversify and live the life you've always dreamed of. Because the ultimate goal isn't money. The ultimate goal is to reach that state, that internal state, and consequently an external one where everything is available to you exactly as you want it. And that's the opportunity right here. Possible dynamics by year. Well, obviously, these are all preliminary forecasts, considering the current dynamics, so to speak, and what's happening. And right now, for any trend, if we look at any chart, not just crypto, but stocks or Forex, back when currency was still a thing, everything starts like this. Meaning when a market is young and an asset is young, it's subject to volatility, and volatility is the difference between fluctuations. And right now is the phase where crypto, let's say, it's growing, but it's finding its price. That is, the price is regulated by external indicators like mining, demand, network activity, development, and so on. So there are many factors that influence this. But effectively, we are currently in the early stages. It's as if it were a child who isn't even 3 years old yet, right? It's just that in crypto, 1 year feels like 5, I think. But nevertheless, just so you understand the ratio. Next comes the scaling phase. Scaling is when the large professional miners start coming in. So right now, among the major miners, like really big ones, there's only Bitfury. Well, the biggest miner, yeah, at one point they were in Bitcoin. They invested exactly 50 million in greenbacks. Well, dollars, I'm using a bit of slang, but you get it. So we haven't even seen the big capital from miners yet, who will come in not like us with a few video cards, but with entire factories, workshops, and production lines that will start very actively mining. I believe in this. Well, why? Because all the factors here are aligning for it. And finally, just like in any business, the maturity stage or the integration stage arrives. For example, Bitcoin is now also in what you could call a maturity stage. Legal companies have arrived, integrations, exchanges, KYC, and all of this already gives us fewer opportunities for profit. Naturally, Bitcoin still has huge potential, and I never want to say anything against Bitcoin because it completely changed my life. But you have to consider these phases and the fact that the earlier you get in, the more opportunities you can seize, and the lower your risk becomes. And the last chart, this is probably the Bitcoin chart, right? Yes, the Bitcoin chart. We can see that for a while, nothing was happening. Well, relatively speaking, look at the chart now. I got in back in 2016. Yes, I was lucky on one hand because Bitcoin grew, Ethereum grew. We got into Ethereum at $7, I remember. But what happened was that a rapid growth phase started after that. And right now we are gaining momentum to make our own breakthrough. So I invite you to join us. I'm glad if this was interesting, give us some fire emojis and pluses. That's all. I'll hand it over to Dima. Thank you.
Anton, thank you for your opinion, your feedback, and for being on our team. That's really cool. Exactly what you were saying. One of the major, let's say, very attentive, very insightful, yes, very far-sighted funds and mining equipment manufacturers Bitfury, yes, they saw the potential in Gonka and invested $50 million, not in mining Gonka itself, but in the production of equipment for mining Gonka. The production of new machines, yes, new miners that will be specialized specifically for mining Gonka, which outperform NVIDIA, the American ones, by 10 to 50 times in terms of power. Yes, certainly, Bitfury learned how to produce equipment for Bitcoin mining. I mean, they made a fortune on it, set records, and took leading positions. So in Bitcoin mining, they are super mega professionals. And they recognized Gonka and decided to produce equipment for mining Gonka as well. So they understand, when people like that understand that a new sector of the economy is being created, they want to be the first. So why are we even getting into this business at all? Because we see how the professionals operate. All we need to do is copy their actions. Want to be a boxing champion, copy, your coach, the professional. Want to be a figure skating champion, copy the one who's already done it. Want to be a mining champion? Yeah, just copy what the mining champion really does. Bitfury really is the champion of mining. So he thinks it's promising, and we just copy what he's doing. The technical transparency and security of the Gonka protocol no longer requires any proof. On the Gonka Hub website, you can find all this, Gonka Scan, on the site of a major top auditor, so all of Gonka is verified, smart contract, blockchain, you can Google it all, verify it, find it, how to do business, specifically business, professional business, network business with the Formula X AI platform. We already explained in the presentation, it's recorded, you can request it from the partners who invited you to today's video if you're interested. For everyone who decides to mine Gonka, there's a gift bonus, a welcome bonus, $25 in GNK mining, 1 month from registration. For those watching this meeting, for those watching for the first time, getting to know our Formula X AI platform, this special gift is for you right at the very beginning of our journey together, as we start out, as we launch, as we grow, as we scale up, as we gain momentum, and as we move forward to take leading positions in our field. There is this generous welcome bonus waiting for you just for being here with us at this exciting time. It's not infinite, it won't last forever. It's only available at the beginning, at the start, right now. You can take advantage of it. If you had invested, just imagine, for example, say $10,000 in Bitcoin mining several years ago, you would have, roughly speaking, somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 Bitcoins today, and you would definitely feel absolutely fantastic about that decision. Now, here in this opportunity, you can do the same thing, participate in Gonka mining, and what's more, there's already a special welcome gift waiting for you, complete with detailed terms and conditions, all available right in your personal account. So take a look and see what benefits are in store for you. So take a look there, register, see the terms, you'll see it's simple, and get this gift. Subscribe to our Telegram channel in Russian and English. The recording of the stream is there. The recording of this stream will be posted there for you to share, so you can watch it and send it to people you want to recommend this business, this platform, our platform to. If you want to be happy and want those around you to be happy and wealthy, then share this information. There's a certain logic to it, a certain gratitude. Now I want to show you how Formula X AI works. So there is a website called gonkahub.com. This site shows, and you should definitely check it out, all the pools that are participating in Gonka mining. There are locations there, so you can see where the data centers are located. It also shows the number of GPUs. You can multiply each GPU by $35,000 to get an idea of the total value of the equipment currently used in Gonka mining. And there is a ranking of the pools there. So as of today, the early participants, my business partners, our partners, have teamed up, studied this mining, invested their money, and set up the nodes. And our small pool now holds a network share of 1.22%, which means we are currently, in the top 30, right? So there is a hash rate, and I am ready to show it and send it to everyone. Yes, that will happen next week, but for now, all the funds on the Formula X platform, they aren't active in this pool yet. Only the funds from the early participants are. Those who joined earlier, like when we joined back in late January or February, so those funds are already working. So instead of showing you how other people's money is working, I want to show you exactly how our Formula X funds are performing, but we need about 3 to 5 more days before we can show you that hash rate. But as of today, these are our achievements. We have a pool running, and as you can see, it has 39 GPUs, so it is roughly, it fluctuates a little bit, slightly more or slightly less, depending on the day. So it sits somewhere in the middle of the top 30. The next screenshot is the amount of available GNK in our wallet, the amount of GNK currently investing, and the overall GNK balance. So some of the tokens we have mined are already available, meaning we can use them right now, today, do something with them. And some of them are investing. The Gonka protocol has a vesting period of 180 days. That means every day 180th is unlocked. So for example, if we mined 100,000, then today we get about 1,000. Tomorrow another 1,000 is free, the day after, and so on. The same thing will happen for every one of our clients on our protocol. And here is the next screenshot. This shows our 4 nodes. You can see the power levels here, which nodes and, well, which servers are currently running. So literally by next week, I will provide you with the resources specifically from those who joined the Formula X platform, meaning the hash rate that will allow us to track our current position. We easily hold a position, as you can see, in the top 20 to top 30 range. And therefore, our goal is to move toward the top 10, then the top 5, and finally number 1. So for us, this is a truly achievable task. Together with you, we understand that, well, right now, our inner circle, those are sums within $300, $400, $500,000, right? And our outer circle is within, say, $1, $2, $3, $5, $10 million. Accordingly, we are in a leading position. What does a leading position give us? It gives us a certain carte blanche where we can invite the Liebermans to the podcast, when we can announce that we've made it into the top 5 or 10, and consequently, we can get certain preferences in voting on the race's development, in marketing support, and in actively participating in the overall growth and ongoing development of this entire ecosystem. We are therefore steadily moving forward toward ultimately becoming number 1 in this space. As the saying goes, that is exactly what we are destined to become. But not alone, only together. Only together can we make this happen. So I hope that today's meeting resonated with you and that it's clear. If anything is unclear, be sure to reach out to our leaders, our speakers, and those who recommended our platform to you. Surely, a part of our community, about 30 people, are in constant contact with me. These are top leaders, our early partners who joined us a month ago. They likely have more complete information. You can see how we are evolving. Our website is updated every single day. A new feature appears on the site every day. Every day, there's a new improvement on the site. So every day, the IT team adds something new, an innovation or an update to our site, and we are rapidly moving forward. That is, with you, we will earn more than we would individually. That's what I believe. Together, we will earn more than we would separately. So, welcome to the Formula X platform. Until next time. Next week, we'll be inviting our technical specialist, the one who directly configures our nodes. We'll show our nodes hash, and you'll be able to use that as a major advantage. And you'll be able to openly ask our technical specialist any questions. Thank you all for coming. Have a great mood, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.